Good morning, everyone. I'm assuming it started. I actually never really know, so we're just gonna talk and have a longer introduction and go from there. So there we are. Welcome back. Um, I don't know what to call it. I don't know. Kevin's brain, coffee with Kev. Who knows? Just got some thoughts we want to share out there today. We can call it struggle through Kev's allergies. It could be anything. So hey, today's segment, we're going to call it How to Engage a Positive Mindset, right? Because it all starts there. And even before going in how to, I guess we can ask why. What's the point of all of that? And we just got to understand how it all works. We gotta understand how our brain works, understand how the world works. And I guess they call it a law of attraction, right? That the law is the key thing. It's always working whether we want it or not. That's the key. It's just like law of gravity. It doesn't just work sometimes, right? If we're on this planet, law of gravity is going to work 100% of the time. So if we can see our mindset, our positive attitude, you see, we can even call it winning mindset. Positive is just one of them. It could be a whatever it takes mindset. It could be so many different sub attitudes of this one topic. Uh, the bottom line is, however we feel, the law of attraction, whatever we have going inside our brains, and the vibrations that we put out, is exactly what we're gonna attract in return, right? It's like a GPS system. We set it, and then it will go look for what we want it to look for. Um, what do you even call that? I guess it would be like a GPS. And your brain doesn't like incongruencies, right? Life itself, it doesn't like incongruencies. It has a rhyme and a reason. So if we think or have an attitude or set out vibrations of negativity, for example, um, we don't like incongruencies. So our brain's going to look for other negative things to bring into our lives to confirm the negative thinking, right? And vice versa. If we think positive, the GPS will go out there and search out and attract positive things to confirm that positive thinking, right? That's why sometimes we can start off with stubbing our toe, and if we don't correct that thinking right away, that stubbing of the toe can lead to a lot of different things that doesn't go well that day. And it seems like it comes in bunches, and I think we all had those days, right? Where, man, I just wish bedtime. I'm gonna call it, and we'll start again tomorrow. And we're tied to that. We're tied to resetting per day. And if we start to understand this, we can reset it at any moment, guys. We can turn that around at any given time. So I guess that's why we want to learn on how to do that, is because we don't like incongruencies. And if we shift our thinking, it will go and attract whatever it is that we're thinking. Okay, so that's kind of why. How we gotta understand the layers too. If we don't like our results is a result of certain actions, and we act a certain way because of certain thinking, and certain thinking is because of certain programmings, right? So programming is done at a very young age, even before we know it. And now, as adults, we have the choice to program whatever we want so that it triggers certain thinking that serves us to get a result that we're looking for, right? So, just to share with you some programmings, maybe a different perspective, a different way of looking at it, so that we can put out the proper vibrations to track what it is that we're looking for, right? One of the things is we need to know that it's in our control. We have 100% control over that. That is a belief system. It is my choice, all right? I do have a choice on how I feel on a moment per moment basis, right? We need to take ownership for that. We need to we need to know that life is not what happens to us, is how we react to it, right? That's a programming, that's a belief system that I wasn't equipped with that at a very young age. Although now that I have the choice and the ability to, I know I can adopt that thinking because it serves me. It gives me a better result. It gives me better actions to lead me down a path that I enjoy. So, um, Life is not what happens to me, is how I react to it. That's a way of seeing things. There's a way of different perspective, I guess. All right. We can also say life is not what's happening to me, is happening for me. So if I have that way of thinking, every time something happens, instead of being the victim and saying it's happening to me, happening for me, now I ask better quality questions. What is it that I can learn from this? How am I thinking, or how am I operating to get me in this situation right now? What do I need to shift and change so I can avoid this down the road? So by having that perspective, all of a sudden, even things that doesn't feel like it's serving us can now serve us, right? A different perspective could be, instead of bad and good, we see it as effective and ineffective. You know, what am I thinking and how am I operating? Not bad, because if I see how life can serve me, instead of happening it to me, is happening for me, now I can go, okay, that's not bad because it's serving me somehow. Is it effective? Okay, so if it's not effective, as in it's not getting me the result that I'm looking for, then what are some effective ways of thinking or some effective ways of being that can lead to some more effective ways of doing that gives you the result that you're looking for, right? So it's all perspective, it's all by choice, right? There's a story, and I don't know if it's real, although it serves its purpose. It's twins growing up in a household, and one became an alcoholic, and the other one sober, doesn't even want to touch a drop of liquor. And when they were interviewed separately, their answers were very interesting. The alcoholic son goes, well, I grew up in an alcoholic household. My dad's an alcoholic, therefore I'm an alcoholic. And then they interview the other son, and he goes, well, it's simple. I was raised in an alcoholic household. My dad's an alcoholic, so I chose not to touch liquor for the rest of my life. So it could be the same thing that happens, yet the different perspective on if it's happening to me or if it's happening for me, or is it happening, is it effective or not effective? All these things, a different way of looking at it, can really change the outcome of where our life goes. So that's the beauty of it, is we now have um, the choice, and we know how to reprogram that to think a certain way to attract what it is that we want in our life, right? So that's kind of what I want to talk about today. I know it is very, very short. That is almost like my time right there. I want to dive into it so much. This is such a big topic. Um, Maybe another topic could be exactly how to, an exercise on how to reprogram so that I can think a certain way to get the results that I'm talking about. Today, we can just end on that. Today, it could just be me giving you a couple um, different perspectives. You know, life's not what happens to me, is how I react. Uh, Life's not happening to me, is happening for me. Instead of bad or good, ask yourself, is it effective or not effective? Better quality questions, right? What can I learn from this? So those are just two to three that you can probably take today and implement so that you can shift your thinking, so that you can start attracting the things that you want to attract in your life. And on a later segment, we can probably go into the exact exercise, the details on how to, for you to pick out these things and shift that on your own, as opposed to having to listen to somebody or a podcast or something along those lines for you to get these nuggets. You can have it all in here. You can do it all on your own. So that's kind of my thoughts today. I hope that helps. I hope that shifts your morning. I hope that kicks you into a gear and a vibration that attracts what you want in your life today. And I hope that message serves you. All right. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you sometime soon. Have a good day, guys.